rock and roll.
Is it video or audio only?
It's video too, if that's cool with you. I never.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Usually I turn it off if it's not, because I want the recording to be best. So like I'll turn off. I'll just turn off my video so that, because my wife's doing video. There's always like, just making sure that we're not, because I don't like bandwidth to drop, and so that's fine. If you're doing video, then I'll leave it on.
Yeah, we got video. We're rocking and rolling. So Vincenzo, thank you so much for your time. Really looking forward to our chat.
Likewise. Let me take these off now that I know this video. I don't need these. These are just blue light glasses. All right.
Do you think those things actually work? I think about that a lot. I dim my screen really dark to the yellow, which is kind of my solution. But I always think like, is this blue light a real thing? And should I take it more seriously?
To me personally, I think it works. I don't wear them enough.
Yeah,
is the problem. So yes, I think they work if you wear them, because the days I wear them, I think there's less, my eyes don't feel as tired. The days where I don't, and I'm in front of the computer, nonstop, or on a device all the time, dude, my eyes are like burning by the end of the day.
Mine too.
So, I mean, I know they get dry from the looking at it.
Yeah.
Screens, blue light or not. I don't know. These are Warby Parker ones. I paid probably too much, but I do like them. They look good. I like the style. I feel like I could wear these and like go out if I had to, and just keep them on.
Yeah, cool. I will take that into consideration.
Yeah, I would say try them. Try them with like I've also, I don't know where the other ones are, but I have ones that are like yellow. They're actually, or like they're orange.
For sure, like tinted.
Those I feel like really worked.
Wow.
But then you see everything with an orange haze. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But those really work, I think.
Damn. I will take that more seriously. I'll give that a try. I think about it a lot. I put my screen, you can adjust the settings to make your screen dim, but I always tell myself like that can't really be everything.
No. And I think, well, you wear glasses. So if you just get because like Warby Parker, you could get prescription and then you can add the blue light filter. I don't have a prescription. These are just pure blue light blocking, but you can get them as blue light with your prescription anyway.
Cool.
So it's like, why not? If you're going to wear the glasses anyway. So.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm going to start this conversation off in a little bit of a different spot because
whatever you want. Go wherever you need to go with it.
Cool. I can't figure this out about you. So your first language I read was Italian. Were you born in Italy or just an Italian household?
Italian household, first generation.
Okay, yeah.
Born in Italy,
cool.
yeah.
So first generation Italian. You grew up in Connecticut, I think.
Yep.
You live in Columbus, but you're a Steelers fan.
Yep.
How does all of that happen?
So my dad, when my dad moved to the United States, he played soccer. That's what Italian kids did. They didn't know what American football was. And when he started high school, here in the United States, all the kids were playing American football, and American football was on TV. So he was like, all right, well, I guess I got to try and figure this sport out. Well, the Steelers had Franco Harris in the 70s, and he's an Italian American.
Mm-hmm.
And so my dad felt like, oh, wow, I can make a connection. And the Steelers were winning, so they were on TV. It just kind of went from there. And he's like, this is my team. And he passed it down to me and my brother. Got my mom on board. And that's it. That's how it became. I mean, it's kind of simple, but it's also kind of cool because of how and why. Yeah.
For sure. It means something. My dad came to America too. We're Scottish, so I grew up speaking English, but it's always funny when I sit around like the Thanksgiving table, and me and my sister sound like so much different than everyone else. So I can relate to it. Well, this year, unfortunately, we grew up in Philly, so no matter what, I still wear my Eagles Dawkins jersey every Sunday, no matter what. But it's been tough this year, bro.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get a quarterback.
That's what happens.
You need a quarterback.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, let's get into some more fun stuff. I want to talk about your agency. I want to talk about your YouTube channel. I want to talk about video in general.
Yep.
you have just like a much better understanding and grasp about video than I would really consider myself a writer. But I think for a lot of people, video is like kind of intimidating as well, but it's so effective in terms of storytelling. So with that being a little bit of a context, right, I wanted to talk about Aftermarq. um, I think you guys would consider yourselves like a video production media agency. So what was the catalyst for that? Like, I just grew up writing. Did you just grow up filming stuff and just really into editing and video recording? How'd that come to be?
My dog is going nuts over here. That's why I muted myself.
I
Can you
can't hear
cut
it.
that?
No, I can't hear it at all.
You can't hear her?
No.
Okay. All right. She sounds like a smoker. Yeah. I mean, as a kid, I grew up always making film, like little short movies and whatnot on my, this old camcorder, nothing digital. It was like you had to stop, rewind. That's how we did it. We'd stop, rewind, take again and stuff like that. But I never wanted to like do essays and book reports or projects. So I would always I was a really good talker. So I was able to work. I was able to convince my teachers to let me do a film, shoot a video, a movie. And I remember doing that for pretty much every class. I mean, Italian class, social studies, language arts, all those classes, any project, health, sex ed or health, whatever, those classes, always found a way to do a video. And so I always had a love for it. Love movies. Love, I just love the production of them as much as I do the finished product. And it kind of stopped though after high school, but I always had that, I always had a love for it. And when video with social media, when video became more of I want to say accepted, but when it became something that was used a lot more, it really hit with live video. So when live video dropped, I don't know if you remember the app Meerkat, but Meerkat was like one of the first social live video tools. And I started creating video again on there, and I started trying to use it for just to have fun on. I didn't even I wasn't trying to sell anything. I wasn't trying to do anything on it. Sorry about this going on right now. I'm on video. I know. Sorry.
That was really funny.
I'm just trying to have my wife get rid of the dog, bring the dog downstairs because she's going to start barking. I apologize.
That's fine, bro.
Okay, so let's backtrack. The app Meerkat came out, social live video. It was, the first before Periscope came on, Twitter. And I just loved it. I started creating every day. I was doing shows, and I was constantly trying to figure out how to do the next show and I started getting gigs with some brands to be a live video host. And I'm like, all right, I kind of like video again. And there's a big difference between doing something for fun, like I was doing it in school, right? And doing it because you're trying to make money. And so when I was doing these live video hosting things, I actually felt like, wow, I enjoy this again. I enjoy creating the video. I like the fact I don't have to edit this. I just have to do it on the spot live. I don't have to go and take time to post produce. This is fun. Mm-hmm. And so the way I know it's kind of a long way to get to this point, but the Aftermarq started because there was a need for live video and people that understood how social video worked. A lot of the big agencies at the clients we now have, they only understand commercials and Super Bowl commercials and big time campaigns. No one understood these micro opportunities that were available to you online. And early on, people would kind of oh, it's just social media. Okay, but they're paying me 6 figures to make that social media video you just watched. So you tell me, is it not worth it? Should I say no? Are you serious? Yeah. And so it was that first time someone offered us a 5-figure check to make some videos just for social media was when it dawned, it hit me in theory, I always understood it, but then it actually affected me and it hit me. And I was like, damn, there's opportunity here to make real money. And then Aftermarq was born. I mean, it was really when the realization hit me that there was opportunity, there was a niche there just for social video, just for, series that would live. I mean, some of this stuff, I'll be honest with you, with the big clients that we have, doesn't even go on, public social facing. It's for internal. It's for like internal reasons. So there was a whole opportunity that opened up when you're working with these large companies that have tons of employees to provide video production, video, helping them understand how to make video, how to I don't want to say sit, but like how to set up on video, lighting for video. I know right now this is not the greatest example. My office is kind of a little bit of a mess, but now, and then even now, like, let's go even further. Like 2020 has opened up more opportunities because now executives are like, oh crap, I don't have video crews that can come out to my, to our office or to a location anymore. I'm on video every day. Can you help us? So it's, things have evolved, and it's evolved. It's all stemmed from just understanding that there was an opportunity and realizing that there were gaps in a space. Social media is, you see one thing, but there's also so much happening in different industries and with different companies, different levels of company, different sizes of company, that if you just fill a gap and just hammer that gap, you can make a nice living. And then obviously you have to adjust and you have to, find ways to adapt when times change. But at its core, you hammer home on a niche. And for us, it was this enterprise software companies that had marketing opportunities on social outside of their big agency campaigns. And they were like, well, we don't have anyone that can be nimble, that can produce things quickly, that can, fly in and out and create a video if they have to in a couple weeks. It's, we don't need massive big production with talent and crews, and we just need something shot that looks great for maybe a newsletter, our CMO's newsletter. Okay, cool. We'll be there. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Thank you for that. One of the things that I was excited to talk to you about, so lend a little bit of context. I feel comfortable writing. Well, one, because a copy blogger, that's just who we are. We're writers and we write copy and the power of words, but also because writing is one of the marketing channels that has stayed very foundational. I mean, even till this day, blogs and email lists are so powerful and are relatively the same as they were before.
Sure.
But with video, it moves so fast. I mean, I've never had a TikTok account, and I can't even imagine creating another social media account right now. More or less, I spend all of my social life, call it, on Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so for some of my brands, we've done the whole live video thing. We've done the recorded video thing. Obviously, I record my podcasts on video. We've done quick 1-minute videos on Instagram, and then there's stories, and then all types of shit, right?
Yep.
I personally find it overwhelming, but I also kind of have this constant sense of FOMO, right? Just because I know there's so much opportunity there. I think I'm self-aware enough to know that if I stick to being a great writer and I stick to being a great email marketer, that's my niche, and I can kill that. But man, you can't help but think about all of this great content that gets created and all this great attention that gets brought around it. So what I'm getting at, seeing how much this, let's just call it the video industry, right, has changed, whether it's long form, micro content, wherever, where are we at right now? If someone's watching this, they're I feel comfortable in front of a camera, I can set up a thing real quick, I can record on my phone. What's the best place for somebody to see some action?
That's a tough question. And I know that a lot of people want an answer without the things I'm probably about to say, but reality is it just depends on what you're looking to do. I mean, if you're setting out to, I'll say this, first and foremost. If you're setting out to just be like, yeah, I'm going to push out a video and all of a sudden I'm going to make sales, or I'm going to all of a sudden get all these followers.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And unfortunately, it seems funny. And if, you're listening to this or watching this, you're probably like, yeah, I know that. All right, well, maybe you do. And that's good. If you do, you're ahead of a lot of folks, because there's still people in 2020, actually we're almost in 2021, that still believe, oh man, all I need to do is put out one video and I'm good to go, because they see one video that goes viral and they're like, oh my God, that changed the game for them. We see the ocean spray cranberry guy and we're like, oh, but then go back and that guy was posting forever and didn't, and he built up a nice little audience, but he didn't hit that virality moment that changed his life on TikTok. If for those of you that don't know, there was like that video earlier this year, that ocean spray, and the guy's just cruising down the street,
so ridiculous,
drinking ocean spray, playing Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac Dreams jumped up the charts again, like wild, right? But you can't think that that's going to happen just by posting one time. And there's a lot to be said about consistency. And I mean, you mentioned like about our YouTube channel. We started a couple of YouTube channels and we started from scratch. We've only posted maybe 10 videos or so far. Like it's not wildfire. Like our best videos got 5,400 views on a brand new channel. So like, it is what it is. We just got to keep posting. You got to go through the ones that get 118 views, and be like, oh crap, that did nothing. All right, well, you learn. And I think that's the biggest problem most people need to, or that's the challenge most people need to solve first and foremost. Where can you be the most consistent? YouTube requires a whole different level of time. Yes, can you just post, create something and edit it on your phone and post it? Sure. And that'll be okay for a while. But it's still a longer, or there's more time involved in that than, say, a TikTok. Now, I'm not saying TikTok doesn't require time. So if you're watching this, and you're saying, man, I spend 5 hours on a TikTok. You very well could. But overall, you can make it to where there's like you can simplify on TikTok to what your idea is, to the point where it may not take as much time as, say, YouTube. Or maybe you just create on Twitter, and maybe you're just going to grab your phone and you're going to shoot something, thoughts in the moment, love them or not, love them or hate them. Dave Portnoy from Barstool does a really good job of stuff like that, where he'll just be like, breaking news, blah, and it's some absolutely ridiculous asinine thing, but it's just in the moment, real quick. Then he does his Davey Day Trader thing where he's kind of like live streaming it. So there's a little bit more of a production setup there. Then obviously they've got their longer, but if you look at a lot of their, and I hate using Barstool as an example because a lot of people can't see past Barstool. They're like, oh man, I don't like their get over the fact of what they do, but just understand the model and how it works. It's very simple, but they cover a lot of ground. So if you're someone just starting, to get back to your answer, sorry, to your question, if you're just starting and you're like, okay, I need to find a place, you've got to find the spot where you can start, that you can produce consistently. If that's on Instagram, then do it on Instagram. If it's on, Twitter, then go on Twitter. If it's on YouTube and you're going to dedicate that time to create one great video every week, then do it. But it has to stick, right? It has to be a place where you can keep doing it. And this happens with everybody, right? Like, I want to be a writer. I want to write more, but I can never stay consistent with it. So you know what? Am I going to go and try to keep writing? I'm not saying I'm stopping it altogether, but I'm not putting my eggs in that basket right now until I know something hits and strikes me and I'm like, okay, I can do this daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. So yeah, someone just asked me the other day, where would you put this type of content? And it was around a specific type of content that they were creating. And I did recommend TikTok for what they wanted. Cause I was like, you know what, if you're not, and he said, like, I'm not trying to put time into like YouTube videos and like that, shooting it and editing. Like, I want something that's a little more fun, fast, and just like some stuff that I can create like daily. I said, well, then, TikTok might be a really good spot for it, just because right now there's a lot of eyeballs. Instagram, the same thing. Like, there's a lot of eyeballs right now, and their algorithm is pushing people that are creating on Reels. So maybe you create Reels, you really just have to watch and see what is working. If there's something else out there in the same area that you create in, find out where it's working. That would be my best advice. I can't tell you to start on TikTok if, you've got like TED Talks. Now you could find ways to edit them down, but that's a whole different ballgame. Now you're talking about investing more time, and are you going to stay consistent with that? So I can't stress that enough, that the consistency aspect of it has to be the first and foremost when you're considering where to create.
Obviously, you understand all the different platforms really well. Who are some of the people right now, or even in the past, that you've looked up to, that said, like, I like this guy's message, I like this girl's vibe, I like this person's consistency that they're putting into the world? Like, who are some of the video creators that have influenced you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been blessed to I'm married to a YouTuber, so she has Amy Landino. She's just been, she was Amy Schmidauer before that, and Amy TV is her channel. So yeah. I mean, her consistency is I've looked up to quite a bit, because she was plugging along for years.
Yeah.
She's been doing it for over 10 years, but she was plugging along for years, stuck at like 50,000 subscribers, where a lot of people have been like, man, I'm still doing this for, 7-8 years. And I've only got 50,000 subscribers. Like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden it kind of hockey stick forward. She's like almost at 400,000 now. And, but again, it was consistency and not skipping consistency because you weren't seeing that growth. I mean, that's how long it can take, right? It's not everyone's Peter McKinnon. He's someone else I look up to on YouTube, where, he hit 1 million in a year. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone could just, and Casey Neistat's a great example of this.
Yeah.
He burned out doing that daily vlog, and he came straight out and was like, I just can't do this anymore.
I do miss those vlogs, man.
They were great, but when you're spending 10 to 15 hours of your life, of your day, creating and editing every day, he's got a family. There's other things he was doing. Like, it's impossible to survive, right? He runs for long periods of time. So like he couldn't keep up with that. Marquez Brownlee is someone, is a friend of ours who's, he's just fantastic at what he does. He's just, crushed it.
He seems so nice too.
He's such a nice kid. It really, really is. Like, he's a nice guy. He's super smart, and he's invested, in his team and things like that the right way. Austin Evans is another. I know a lot of these are tech YouTubers, but that's who we're friends with. Austin Evans is another one. Again, small town kid from, I think, Arkansas, just started publishing daily, or whatever, weekly, every week, something that he loved to do. And now, he's got, I don't know, 3 million, 5 million, whatever he's at. But like, those things don't happen overnight. You look at certain people and you're like, man, they're at X amount of views or subscribers, and that's so easy for them. It's not really easy. I mean, no one's watching the years, literally years that have been put into getting to a certain point. And then on top of it, like, I go back to my wife, but when she was at 50,000 subscribers, 30,000 subscribers, she wasn't just like, oh man, YouTube is my only place to make money. She was selling coaching. She was, services to clients. There was, group coaching, one-on-one coaching, selling products like courses and informational, and using her YouTube channel as like, hey, here's where I'm going to put my free stuff, and here's where I'm going to build a little bit of social proof. So that's why I look up to a lot of YouTubers. I mean, there are people that create really well on, on TikTok, and I don't follow it as much. I mean, I know a few of them that are, we could pick out the big names that everybody knows, like the Charlie D'Amelios and the Addison Rays and those young kids that, I don't know how sustainable those things are, but what they are doing well is they're taking their fame, and a lot of them are moving it over onto TikTok or onto YouTube and Instagram, and like, okay, hey, I can't just focus here. They're getting major brand deals with a lot of companies, but the folks that I mentioned are ones that I've always looked up to and kind of modeled as like, okay, what are they doing? How are they doing this? The fact that they go in and they really look at like analytics and data. How many people are actually clicking through to this video? How long are they watching the video for? Where are they dropping off? Okay, well, why are they dropping off at that point? Things like that. So like when you see video creators, like there's a lot more that goes into just pushing a video out and making a pretty video with a nice camera, with an expensive camera. There's, there's numbers, there's data, there's understanding how a brand deal or how a sponsored video is going to react versus a non-sponsored deal. Wording of titles, which is copy, writing copy like that, it all comes into it. So like video creators are more than just video creators. They have to understand copy. They have to understand analytics. They have to understand tags and SEO. I mean, it's crazy how much goes into it. And again, writers are doing the same thing. They have to understand analytics, all these other things. Video, you just also have to shoot, and there's like an added component to it. But yeah, so the creators that I named are the ones that I would say I look up to. I know there's more out there that I haven't named too, but like those are the ones that I'm always consistently like, okay, what are they doing? Because if they're doing something or they're changing something up, there's a reason.
So there's two things that you mentioned there. First, I was very happy to see your wife hit that J curve thing as well. I watched a couple of her videos years and years ago, and then would check in from time to time, like, oh, what's this person up to? What's that person up to?
Sure.
Never met her. Obviously, seems like a hardworking, delightful person, and so I'm really happy for all of your guys' and her success. Next, you mentioned I believe, okay, on my personal blog on timstyles.com, I wrote a blog article that I still get like really bashful emails from people from. But the idea was you shouldn't want to be a YouTuber. And I wasn't saying that like YouTube is a bad thing. I was trying to advocate what you were talking about, where like if you have an audience, relying on YouTube itself to monetize might not be the best idea. Like, why not use this audience to promote your own shit, like your own products, your own coaching, your own, I mean, whatever. Name anything here. It doesn't have to be an info product. You could be selling like drawings or art that you like. I follow some really, really cool like esport commentators who build their audience, and then they sell coaching. Basically, they sell video game coaching. So like, what are your thoughts on that? I worry a little bit. I advocate against people wanting to be a quote YouTuber, right? Like I want as many views as possible so that I can get this YouTube revenue. And I personally advocate way more along the lines of like, find your niche, find your following, find the people that you can serve, and then go directly to them with a product that serves you and your business best. Just like your thoughts on that, man.
All right, two parts. And I had to write some stuff down so I don't forget what I'm going to say. First and foremost, you say, don't be a YouTuber. I totally understand what you're saying, because I wrote an article. I'm trying to find it now, but it was like 4 years ago, 5 years, maybe 2013. I don't even remember. It was quite a while ago.
This whole year screwed everything up.
Yeah.
It like what happened?
Might have been 7 years ago. It was a while back, and it was "Stop Calling Me an Influencer" was the name of it. And the point of the article was, stop trying to chase after being an influencer, because what are you an influencer of?
Yeah.
What Peter McKinnon, great example. We were talking about Peter McKinnon. He's a photographer. He's a damn fine photographer and video creator. He didn't set out to be a YouTuber. He started providing useful tips on the stuff that he was an expert at.
Yeah.
To people on YouTube. And now he's, blown up. He Casey, I know Casey Neistat had mentioned him, so that helped his trajectory.
Sure.
But now he's got deals with like camera companies, and he came out with his own lens filter like this. This is not his, but I can't remember the brand. I think it was Polar Pro. They came out with like a product with him. You know what I mean? Like he's got his own like coffee line. He didn't set out to be a YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
He set out to be the best damn photographer he could. And then when he got to a point where he's like, I want to start helping other people and putting this out there, he did. You don't become a YouTuber to make YouTube revenue. I truly don't believe. First of all, you shouldn't, because number one, they can turn off your monetization. It's happened to people like Philip DeFranco constantly.
Yeah.
And
because it's shit money.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I'll just, like my wife, for like her YouTube, her AdSense revenue, like we can pay the mortgage with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not total shit, but it's not like, oh man, your life is totally going to change because of this. If that's all you did, let's say all you did was that, like, can you get by on under 6 feet, whatever that number is? And for most people, it's going to be very little.
Yeah.
So you have to think about that. But you've got to find other ways to monetize. So that's why I do love that statement of like, don't just set out to be a YouTuber, because what else are you going to do? Are you going to build your own brand off of that? Are you going to, are you going to go and continue to take photography clients or video clients or whatever that might be? That's going to make you money, and then it helps build the YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel helps build the business. It's so like, the problem is when people just say like, oh man, I just want to do YouTube, and they have and again, a lot of people will start that way if you're younger, but if you're old, as you get older, you understand like, I can't just sit here and do YouTube. Like I've got to do something so that I can create these videos. That's the way I look at it. And then you said something else that I wanted to comment on, and I wrote down something, but now it doesn't make sense. Go figure. It made sense when you were saying it, and now it doesn't make sense that I'm looking at it. But I think that the way to really be a creator or be a YouTuber is if you are focused on doing something else really, really well.
Yeah.
And in that, like I said, in that article, like, don't call yourself or don't call me an influencer is with the point of it. The whole point of it was focus on something that you're passionate about, that you really love to do, that you can do consistently, and document that. So now you're a YouTuber and a photographer at the same time, or you're a YouTuber and an entrepreneur at the same time. If you're just setting out to be just a YouTuber, like it's going to take a lot longer for you to get to that other point.
Agreed, totally. And speaking of that, let's finish off.
Did I answer that question? You asked something else, did you not?
No, you answered that question totally. Okay. It's a methodology issue. For me, it's like, I'm always just weary because I understand that I am YouTube's product. And so in my 100%. Viewpoint, it's like, I'd rather flip it. Like I want to use YouTube to grow my product, as opposed for YouTube using me to grow their product. It's just something that I've always believed in. I've seen a lot of people build really cool brands. And then, I mean, I'm a perfect example. So the first brand that I built on social, it's a brand called Sober Nation. It's a big website that helps people that are in like addiction recovery. And at one point, I think in 2012, we had like 40,000 followers on Facebook. And I would write these blog posts and I would post it, and I would sit there and watch the live analytics and just watch this article spread and go viral like crazy. And then what happened? Like the famous Facebook bait and switch came in.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, these 40,000 followers that I had never even got to see the stuff that I posted. And now we're at like 400,000 followers, and it's still kind of the same. Like I can post an article,
yep,
and like nothing will really happen. And so the point I'm trying to make, I think YouTube's a little bit different because there's a lot of organic search with YouTube, and I'm an SEO and a writer. That's just why I like to make videos, because one video can really compound like 1,000 times if you have the right keywords. But like the point I'm trying to make, which I believe strongly, is kind of just what I said, like use YouTube to grow yourself. Don't try to grow on YouTube. Like you can have 1,000 followers and have a product or an idea that is totally in line with those 1,000 followers and grow like a great business. Or
Mhm.
you can have like 100,000 followers who are just kind of there to, I don't know, be there and try to use YouTube revenue. And you can make way more money with 1,000 followers who want to buy your product than
Oh,
100,000 followers who just want to watch you.
absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I will don't even need to. We don't even need to keep talking about that because you're like, that's right.
Yeah.
Correct. We don't have to keep beating that one. That you are right about that.
For sure. But on that note, I want to talk about your YouTube channel. You mentioned it earlier.
Sure.
You guys are great producers, man. Like you're great editors. You're great planners, I guess is the word. I always just kind of hit record and then like, I guess that's the
Yeah.
video.
We're go ahead.
I want to know what is it that you guys are going for? You're talking about a lot of stuff on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, it's funny you say that because it keeps changing. Like we're kind of going with the flow. The whole point of it was to go with the flow.
Yeah.
So we started a brand new channel called Brainwork, which was just so Blake and I, who was hired at Aftermarq, him and I decided to start this channel called Brainwork because we're just like super curious about things, anything. It's like we'll go to a coffee shop and have a coffee and we're like, what does that taste like? Or like, how do they do that? How do they make that? Or like, you go to a restaurant and want to know how the chefs are like, where's like that extra flavor that we can't identify? Like how do you get that? Just like little things. Or like, I have a pen. I have this pen here and it's called the Embassy pen. And the thing is like weighs like 5 pounds and it's like solid steel. Like, well, this is actually used in an embassy. Like, well, I never am able to just leave something be. Like, you can't just tell me something and then I like stops there.
Yeah.
And Blake's the same way. So what we did was we decided like, hey, let's start this media company based around this idea that we're trying to constantly satiate our curiosity.
Nice.
Don't know how on earth that's going to manifest itself. So let's just do what we think makes sense right now. Because the more you deliberate and the more you think about and the more you plan and the more you whiteboard and the more you paralyze yourself to the point where it never happens. And that's what happened to us for, a few years. This idea was brewing and we just never got it off the ground because it was like, well, this idea is not good enough. Well, how do you know it's not good enough? Because no one, you're not giving people the opportunity to figure that out. And so needless to say, we started it. We're still going. We haven't published because we're working on a different concept of something right now. But we started with a couple things that we were interested in, like sleep and CrossFit. And, those videos did actually fairly well for what they are. And so, we kind of kept going. We went through a few crap videos and quite a few crap videos actually. But you know what? Hey, it's there. We're trying and we've got a different direction. And we think based on, I'm looking right now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 videos that we put out. Based on 8 videos, we kind of figured or we learned what people liked and didn't like about these and the spin we're going to put on it. Anyway, so there's that video, that channel. Then we have the channel, which is self-named. It's under my own name. Yeah. That channel is also learning. We're kind of focusing on this whole more of a men's lifestyle. That's just something I'm very interested in, like this modern gentleman type thing. That's the idea. Now the content has to fit that, but it's more basically around products and things that we use. Talking about that kind of stuff. Like I had a Filson duffel bag, medium duffel. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Well, what's in the bag for a weekend? Like that kind of thing. And again, I noticed that these videos get views because they're SEO friendly versus the other content, which is more like a story driven. And if you don't know us, it's hard to just like click in and want to watch SEO wise. Whereas these videos, you know, we have a video like, is the Leica Q2 camera the best travel camera? Well, you know, it's got 5,500 views. Again, fairly fresh channel, just because it's SEO friendly. You know, do you need the Rogue Echo bike? Well, everyone's buying exercise equipment right now, and we did a CrossFit video on the other channel, so, and it's doing pretty well. Like stuff like that. We're playing with what works. We're trying to get our faces out there so that people are used to seeing you on video. That's another thing too, right? You have to go through that practice of getting people to realize that, oh, your face is on video. Oh, you're making video. If these videos totally flop out, it's fine. It's serving a purpose. It's truly, the way I look at it is, it's serving a purpose because I'm learning from the audience. What do they like? What do they not like? We're learning a lot about what types of thumbnails people click into, what types of title copy works, how many words work. I mean, these are things we actually like think about and write down and strategize behind. Like, we're looking at the analytics. Okay, well, this title was 3 words and it had this thumbnail with 2 faces on it and the words were here and it got this click-through rate. But then this video was, this title was 7, you know, words long and it had 1 face on it with a bigger product. Words, and it got this click-through rate. Okay, so that's interesting. So, okay, let's figure out. So how do we, and it's coming up with like the formula that works for us. But that can translate, right? So that translates from, like, if I'm learning this for us, I can translate that into our clients on the Aftermarq side, right? Like, hey, clients, this type of stuff works. This is how you want to do it. Okay, well, we need to see numbers. Okay, well, here's the numbers from our like what we're doing. Yeah. So it's, again, the biggest skill here is taking information and being able to kind of translate it into other opportunities. The biggest mistake most people make is or not biggest mistake, the skill people lack, a lot of people lack, is being able to take information and translate it for use elsewhere. They think it's you know, it's what do they call it? Tunnel vision. It's very tunnel vision, where it's like, okay, it's just YouTube. It's just YouTube. Like, no, look how much you're learning from this, that you can go and sell an information course, or even if you do it for free, like, you can go and do something elsewhere. It doesn't have to just be on this spot.
I love a lot of what you just said. First off, I think like a men's lifestyle channel is a great idea. Although it may not be the most original, I personally have looked for videos in that topic, and there's just not a lot out there. Like, men are really underserved in that kind of thing. You know, like, just my own experience, like, I have no idea how to dress, or, like you said, what a gentleman is, but it's stuff that as you get older, like, you want to present yourself better, and I'm like interested in it, you know. And I haven't really been able to find anything that isn't like overly produced and kind of quote like Metro, you know. It just seems like a little bit,
and that's the goal
for sure.
Perfect. I'm glad you said it, because there is that perception that like gentleman is, and again, nothing wrong with Metro,
like more feminine.
I don't know if it's that. I think it's more of just like, there's a very specific vibe people put in their head, but you know, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
There's kind of like the realistic gentleman, right? Like, to me, gentleman is not about how you dress or the car you drive. It's an attitude. It's a way you treat people. And, oh, by the way, I like to wear real watches, and I like cars. I love cars. I love driving fast. I love racing. Yes, I love that kind of stuff too. But it doesn't mean like that's the only way you have to be, right? Like, you can be a gentleman and still watch American football, right? Like, it's not like, oh, you're a gentleman, now you have to go play polo and
yeah, exactly,
you know,
like
sip martinis, right? It's not about that. It's more about how you interact, treat people, how you are as a human being. And, oh, by the way, here's things that I'm into, and that's for me, right? Like, personally, these are the things that I'm into. You don't have to be James Bond. I love James Bond, but you don't have to be James Bond to be a gentleman, right? Like, And so that's kind of where we're eventually going to go with some things. And again, it's just because I'm realizing more and more that if it's something I can keep creating and it's things that I enjoy, and I'm starting to kind of do that with my Instagram a little bit more. Yeah, some people are going to stop following you because they're like, oh, I just want business insights. But you know what? I never gave business insights on my Instagram anyway. So what do I care? You know what I mean? Like, I like to take pictures. Well, good. You're going to see pictures on there of different things that I take pictures of. And, you know, I'm going to also get better because I'm going to take more pictures. You know, I'm going to learn. But that's the key. As a creator, however you create, whether it's video or photo or writing, whatever the hell, music, whatever you create, if you're not learning from what you're putting out there, that's how you fail.
I love that so much.
Truly. You have to, one of my favorite pieces of insight that one of my uncles used to tell me all the time. And I never understood it. I don't know why it didn't hit me, but he said, keep score, do more. That's what he used to say to me. And he is in the beauty industry. I was in the beauty industry for a little bit behind the chair. I was actually cutting hair and doing all that long time ago, 15 years ago. He used to say that in the salon. And I'm like, what do you like? He had a scorecard that he developed, and every stylist would have this scorecard and you would track every day. You would physically write down the numbers you did every day, how much you did in revenue, how many guests you had, how many services they had, how much retail product you sold. And you'd come up with all these numbers. And like, I always thought to myself, like, what the hell is it, dude? It's just cut hair. Like, what are you talking about? You color it, you know? And finally, when I started my own businesses outside of that industry, years later, I was like, oh my God, that makes total sense. Because if I don't know what the score is, it's like a football team. This is a perfect example. It's a football team. If I don't know that it's 3rd and 1 and I'm down 6 points, well, how do I know that I'm going to maybe pass the ball to try and score a touchdown? You don't. You have no idea. You don't know what play you're going to run if you don't know where, what's going on, what the situation is. And so it's the same thing with creators. If you have no idea what the score is, if you don't know the data, if you don't know what you're doing, you're just creating in a vacuum. And you're hoping that people catch on. And listen, a lot of creators that we see that caught fire, sometimes they do catch fire. And there are times where things like that happen. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you right now, that's not the majority of people. Like, that's not you see, 3, 4, 5, maybe you see 100 people that are doing really, really well. Maybe 3 of them caught fire like that. But the other 97 were doing what I was telling you my wife did. 10 years of just cranking out. What my friends, Austin and Marquez and even Casey Neistat, that's what those folks had to do. Cranking out, learning, well, what do people want to see, and checking the data and stuff like that. So for every, firestorm, Charlie D'Amelio on TikTok, you've got 100 folks that are just like banging their head against the wall trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I love it, man. Great advice. I appreciate that. It's always a good reminder. This whole podcast has been an experiment of that for me. Yeah. It's a good reason, to try not to take it too seriously too, and just see what's going on, see what people like, try to learn from it. Listen, man, I really, really appreciate your time. I got to wrap this thing up. We got Aftermarq.com, marq.com. What's your Twitter?
Just best place to follow me is on Twitter or Instagram, Vincenzo Landino. On Instagram, I'm the Vincenzo Landino. Someone had my name apparently.
No way.
Yeah, there's an account with Vincenzo Landino that I can't.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, but so I'm the Vincenzo Landino. And those are the best places to follow me. I don't even send people to a website anymore, because it's like, hey, I actually interact and talk back. I talk with people, especially on Twitter. Like,
that's how we met.
Yeah, exactly. So I would, Twitter's fantastic. I enjoy it a lot. And like I said, I like to interact with people. Yeah. That's how I learn. It's really how I learn. I learn how people respond to certain content, posts, things like that. I mean, there's no other way to understand it than to do it and then actually listen. We have 2 ears, 1 mouth kind of thing. Listen and then talk. Yeah. So Twitter or Instagram is the best.
Yeah, amazing. I really appreciate it, man. I actually have a whole bunch of business partners and like really good friends that live in Columbus. I'm up there pretty often.
Nice.
So awesome.
Yeah, stop by sometime.
Fun town for sure. Next time I'm up there,
For sure.
we'll get in touch. We'll get dinner or something like that.
Sounds good, bud.
Vincenzo, really appreciate your time. Let's do this again. Talk soon.
Sounds good.